All right, hey guys, it is Friday lunch. We're gonna do some game design. Give me a second here to check in on my signal, make sure that we're up and running, that our volume is proper. I'm going to post that we're live on the social medias real quick. That's gonna take like maybe a minute. So if you're catching this in the future, you can skip ahead and when we get into the meat of the situation. But for those of you that are trapped here and now with me in time space, I'll just do a little intro thing here and we'll get things rolling. So yeah, okay, cool. It looks like I'm coming through. That's the first point that we needed. So it's very quiet. I don't think it's going to get in our way today. And there's that. And posting the social medias here real fast. Okay, so hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them, I publish them online, and I create content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I publish on the DMsGuild. I've been a DM since 1987. I've been a Magic the Gathering enthusiast since 1994. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999, and I've been using all of that to create content for D&D since 2018. Hey, what's going on, Fernando? We are building the color mana system for Dungeons & Dragons. It takes the 5-color mana system from Magic the Gathering, imports it and translates it into 5e mechanics as a spell point system, where spells and magic are one or more colors from the 5, white, blue, black, red, green. And the mana that your character uses is similarly assigned to mana, white, blue, black, red, green. You can combine them in any combination. You can learn spells. They all have their own native color. And you can design, research, or prepare spells in different colors to match your own personal color pool. That's great for spellcasters, but there's a whole bunch of martial classes that don't utilize spells. So they've been left out until now, so we're expanding the system to utilize the color mana spell point rules for martial characters called martial powers. So that's what we're developing today. We're going through the cleanup process for monks and paladins using the color mana system. So we're going to go chewing through that, and right on, man. Well, I hope you enjoy the time. Anyway, hey, thank you, new subscribers. More so than we had this morning. Bless you guys. I really appreciate people taking an interest in this type of stuff. Hopefully you think it's fun. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications. We are here 9 times per week. Here is the playtest document that we're going to be using today. Here's a bunch of free books. Well, they're books on DMsGuild. If you want to buy them, God bless you. But they all have free previews. So you can read them first and decide that if you like them or not, you can purchase them at that point. And obviously I make these things to hopefully someday quit my day job. Here is all the color mana books that we've had. Also, free previews. Check them out. If you think they're cool, you want to add them to your 5e games. Here's my Discord channel. You're welcome to drop in at no cost to just hang out, sharpen your knives, and talk color philosophy. So if you click on this playtest document, it's going to pop open as this Google Doc. It's going to be read-only for you, but once it publishes, once we're finished with all the playtesting, I'm going to withdraw it, send it off to an editor to clean up, bring back with the actual final text, go through the layout process, the illustration process, and then publish it just like we do with all of our other books here on stream. And you can watch me going through that art creation process Monday through Friday in the mornings for the Eberron adventure that we're publishing. And here in the like Tuesdays and Fridays at lunch, and now Mondays and Thursday evenings, I do game design. Right now we're working on martial powers. So this is, let's see, I'm going to actually extract this as a separate page down here, and just to line this up to keep an eye on what's going on in my world. I've got a timer going. I've got a little bit more than I've got a bit like about an hour or so to play today. So let's see. I'm going to grab this here because we are working on the subclasses for the monk. We got through the Forsaken subclasses. So only 4 of the subclasses from 2014 for each class graduated to 2024. And we might see a lot of them filter back into 2024 sensibilities once WotC gets around to it. But until then, we're taking all the Forsaken subclasses, those that did not get picked up, and we're continuing to translate those with the design philosophies that we have in this mana system. We finished Way of the Kinsei yesterday, so what we have left is Long Death and Way of the Sun Soul. And once we get through those, we'll dive into the base chassis of the Paladin. And when we get through the Paladin, we'll review the graduated subclasses that are in the 2024 Player's Handbook for Paladin. And then we'll go through all the Forsaken subclasses for Paladin. And then we'll move on to the Ranger and then to the Rogue. And that should finish out the set. I think the Warlock is already current. And that should be the last one that we need to do. We already did all the full casters last month. Now we're doing all the marshals again because we've been updating the system as we've been playtesting. We playtest on Saturdays. And as we playtest, we find flaws, problem loops, things that could potentially be OP if combined with each other, mana costs involved with things to make sure that it all balances well, and that it stays in balance with the marshals compared to the full casters, that we have a comparable rank of power. So I guess without any further ado, we can peel open our document here. This is going to be our reference document here on D&D Beyond, looking at Way of the Long Death. So if I don't have the language listed out for what we need for each of the these subclass options, we can refer back to the document to see how it was supposed to be, like how it is raw, and then how we can graduate it into the 2024 mana system. And we also have the actual powers. Again, all the barbarian, the fighter, the rogue. Now, barbarian, fighter, monk, and rogue, the martial classes, they gain the half-casting structure in their character. So we have 5 ranks of power as opposed to levels of spells. Powers versus spells, they don't mix. But they both use mana. So when you multi-class, you combine your mana pool across all of your classes. But spellcasters don't advance ranks of power, and marshals don't advance levels of spells. So like fighter 18, wizard 1 has 18 ranks of power and 1 level worth of spell casting. 18 level wizard, first level fighter has 18 levels of spell casting from the wizard and 1 rank of power from the fighter, and they don't cross over. But like the half casters like the paladin, the ranger, the artificer, as well as the warlock, can use both spells and powers. Since the monk, the paladin, the paladin, the ranger, and the artificer, since they already have the half-casting scaffold, we just translate the spell slots into the spell points. And then instead of learning, like if you can prepare like 15 spells, instead of picking 15 spells, you could pick 15 powers instead. Or you could pick like 7 powers and 8 spells, or 3 spells and 12 powers, any combination that you want. It's just a resource. It's the same resource, it's just how are you spending it. And so the hybrid half-casters are also marshals. It's like a 20th level paladin is a 10th level spellcaster and a 20th level channeler, because channeling ranks only 1 to 5 from level 1 to 20. So a paladin at 20th level would have 5th level spells and 5th rank of power. Both spells and powers cost 1 mana per level rank. So a 5th level paladin can cast 2nd level spells costing 2 mana each, or can channel powers which also cost 2 mana each. This system uses a short rest mana pool, and there's also the action economy that we can expend. We can exchange action economy for mana during your turn. So if you sacrifice your reaction this round, you gain 1 point of mana to use whenever you want, like as part of a reaction, or like to amplify an attack roll or something during your own turn. You always have reactions available, so you can sacrifice your reaction at any time to generate 1 point of mana. This is for marshals only. Spellcasters do not generate mana unless it's like the ranger can, the paladin can, the eldritch knight can, the arcane trickster can, and the artificer can. So there are a few options, but they're conditional on what they can use free mana for during combat only. So in combat, you can sacrifice your reaction to generate a point of mana to spend on something. You can sacrifice your bonus action to sacrifice mana, and depending on what level you are, depends on how much mana you get. At first level, it's 1. At 9th level, it's 2. And at 17th level, it's 3 mana. So like a 17th level paladin could sacrifice their bonus action any round to gain 3 points of free mana that you could then use like as a divine strike, for instance, or to ramp up your saving throw or whatever it is that you need to do with it. And then your attacks. When you take the attack action during your turn, you can sacrifice a number of attacks to generate an equal number of mana. So if I have 2 attacks at 5th level and a bonus action, I could sacrifice both of my attacks to generate 2 points of free mana that I could then spend on my bonus action to, like, say, trigger a maneuver, like to give my friends bonus hit points or something like that. Whatever. Now there's 192 different powers that you can prepare instead of casting spells, and 124 of them expend mana. And then like 60 some odd of them are like cantrip effects that don't cost any mana, but you have to prepare anyway. So yeah, so that's the idea. So without further ado, all subclasses gain a list of 10 bonus powers. Paladins that gain spells, they gain 10 bonus spells. They get those, so then you would prepare powers. Rangers that get 10 spells don't gain any bonus powers, but a lot of rangers only get 5 spells. So we give them 5 powers. If they don't gain any spells at all, then they get 10 powers. So all subclasses get 10 of something, either a spell or power, depending on what kind of class or subclass it is that you're utilizing. So like the Eldritch Knight doesn't gain any bonus powers, you gain 10 bonus spells on top of the powers that you can normally prepare as a fighter. That's how you're hybriding into being a minor spellcaster. Both the Eldritch Knight and the Arcane Trickster can do that. So bonus spells, bonus powers. You can prepare feats as powers. You don't gain the stat bonus from the feat, but you also don't have prerequisites. So if you don't want to mess around with a mana pool, but you want your character to do cool shit as a martial character, then you can just spend all of your prepared spell slots or all your prepared powers, and you can just load up on feats. So that when you get to 4th level, 8th level, 10th level, 12th level, etc., instead of having to pick up a feat, you can actually increase your stats. So your character becomes more statistically powerful while using their prepared powers to diversify what actions you can use, like Poisoner, Great Weapon Master, Duelist, all that stuff. So Healer is a feat, and it's a bonus feat, so you get that. Breath of Life as a first rank exploit. I'm going through here just to spot check to verify that all these things are still valid, that they're at the proper rank, because we've changed the ranks around as we've played with them to see, like, is it too powerful as first rank? Maybe it needs to be 5th rank. Well, if I can't get it until 5th level, then it kind of falls behind, so maybe we need to give it a little bit of an extra bit of juice so it's worth picking up at that level. So that's the fine-tuning of playtesting that we go through. So I'm not sure if all of the powers listed are at their appropriate rank, but that's what we're going through. So Breath of Life, just to explain it, exploits modify die rolls or action economy. Like, for example, bonus action, you can normally make an attack as an attack action, but as an exploit, you can expend 1 mana, and you can make a weapon attack as a bonus action, which is like, why the fuck would I do that? I can do that if I'm dual wielding. Well, what if you don't want to dual wield? What if you're using a great axe two-handed? There's not a lot, unless you have a subclass that gives you the option of using a bonus action to make an attack with a two-handed heavy weapon, you can't. So this allows you to do that. A kicker that I'm going to mention here that's really fun is in the list of feats that you can pick up as powers. We made a number of new feats that complement the power system with these asterisks. And specifically, what is interesting is... Where'd you go, buddy? Where are you at? Hold on. I'm not finding it. It's in here somewhere. General feats is it's a fighting. It should be a fighting style feat. It's called Efficient Power. I don't know why it wasn't listed here, but it should be. So if we go down here, Efficient Power requires having a power prepared. It's considered a fighting style because only martials get fighting styles. So that's a way for us to gatekeep this stuff. Efficient Power. Choose one exploit, maneuver, or reaction power you have prepared from the discipline list when you select this feat. When you channel the chosen power, you gain 1 temporary point of mana that can be expended in combination with any other source of mana or temporary mana to channel the power. It's repeatable And every time you do repeat it, you can take this feat more than once, choosing a different martial power each time you select the feat. So going back up, and like, why would I want to use bonus action? It costs me a point of mana. I don't have a lot of mana. This doesn't seem like a great idea. Well, you could use a heavy two-handed weapon and with a bonus action gain an extra attack with it when you otherwise normally might not be able to do so. But beyond that, if you prepare it twice, you can prepare the power, and then as a feat, you can also prepare it, and it only costs 1 mana to use, so it literally pays for itself when you use it. So I could expend my bonus action to make an attack, and if I've prepared it twice, it doesn't cost me anything to actually use it. It's just a bonus action. That essentially makes it an additional subclass feature, like as a bonus, like the Berserker. As a bonus action, you can make an extra weapon attack. That's a subclass feature, and by purchasing this, by preparing this power, and then preparing the efficient power feat with it, you've effectively prepared it twice to pay for itself. And then it also has a kicker, which is you can expend additional mana if you want. Spend 1 additional point of mana to attack with advantage. That cannot be bought down. So the bonus attack can be bought down for free, so it doesn't cost you anything for your mana pool. But if you want to attack with advantage on that, it is going to cost you a point of mana, which you could generate by sacrificing one of your normal attacks or by sacrificing your reaction. So a rogue could take this exploit bonus attack, pay for it twice so it's free to use, and then if I don't plan, if I'm in a sniper's nest and I want to take a bow shot at somebody and get sneak attack on them, and I otherwise might not be able to do so, I could use my reaction to pay the kicker cost to gain reaction in that attack, granting myself sneak attack as a rogue at the cost of my bonus attack to pick this thing up and my reaction, and it doesn't cost me anything to do it. But now I don't have that reaction until next turn. So, or until it's my turn again next round. So there's a lot of ways you can utilize the action economy to effectively do shit all day. Like Captain America, I can do this all day. That's what we think about when we're imagining the martial classes. What's the advantage that martials are supposed to have over spellcasters is that their shit is spammable. But the stuff that you can spam in the player's handbook doesn't line up with what a cantrip can do, from like a 17th level caster doing like 4d10 damage every round. What martial is doing 4d10 damage every round? Maybe with enough tax you're going to do that, so maybe it's comparable, but that means that you always have to do just all of your attacks just to keep up with the wizard. What if the wizard wants to throw a fireball instead? Your fighter is still stuck doing nothing but casting cantrips for the rest of their career, effectively. So we wanted to add this mana system in to give the same breadth of variety and options and ways to manipulate their action loops, to be able to spam out effects like a cantrip, but to be able to do higher level effects like second, third level spells may be able to do from a spellcaster, but find a way to make it cheap enough so that our marshals can literally just do it all the time. This free mana stuff, like generating action economy, that only works while you're in combat. So if you're using a normal raw system, like when you roll initiative, that activates all of your action economy. Like you normally don't have a bonus action, reaction, and movement calculated when you're just exploring a room or in a conversation at a festival. Like you aren't tacking these things out in round by round increments, so you don't have that action economy available. So outside of combat, you spend mana from your mana pool. In combat, you only have to spend mana from your mana pool if you really just want to ramp what you're doing to like Nova on them. So it gives you that flexibility and variety. And as you gain higher levels, you get more stuff that you can make more things free, but you have a larger pool to dip into when you want to ramp or do things out of combat. So, and it's all on a short rest, so you can already spam it out if your team has a steady tempo where you can expect to take short rests with one rest, like effectively with the free mana that you can generate and one short rest a day. Your marshals are effectively creating and spending as much mana as a full caster is on their long rest mana supply, which is significantly larger. But it's all long rest, so you get all of it up front, and then full casters are known to pop off huge high level effects that cost a lot of mana, and then they get sleepy. And they have to rely on cantrips more as their battery burns down. With this, it's designed to just simmer. Always have a few points on hand that you can always use whenever you need it. That's the difference. So anyway, walking through that process. Necrotic damage, one of the free things that we can do. It doesn't cost any mana to do this, but all the damage types in the game can be picked up as prepared power. So like if I hit you with a dagger, I could do piercing damage, or like if I have necrotic damage like the Way of the Long Death does, when I hit you with that dagger, I can deal necrotic damage instead. This is a great way for the DM to be able to play cat and mouse with damage types. I can make my monster immune to fire damage, and I give them a weakness to cold damage. And if my team is researching monsters, they'd be like, we need to prepare cold damage on our characters so that we can wade through this mob of fire elementals that are spewing out of this volcano that's threatening to destroy the city. It's like a fire elemental warlord with a legion of fire methods. Well, if I make those methods as a DM, if I make those methods vulnerable to cold damage, my marshals can feel like gods by just wading through hordes of fire monsters. All I have to do is hit you, and if you have lethality against cold damage, they basically have 1 hit point and they die because I'm using cold damage. But they might be immune to like piercing, bludgeoning, slashing damage and fire damage. So I have to find some sort of weakness in them so I can research them or like study them or like use augury spells. Like if I hit them with cold damage, it's going to hurt them, and it's like the answer is yes or no, right? Because it's augury. It's like there's a lot of different ways your characters can research how can I hurt these things, including like the battle master that can study the foe, and the mastermind rogue can study your foe to learn weaknesses and vulnerabilities and immunities that they have. So there's a lot of action. There's a lot more interaction between what monsters are doing and that the DM is presenting as threats and how players can neutralize those threats if you want to lean into damage types as options. So hey, Steve, it's good to see you. And since Way of the Long Death is about manipulating life force and death energies, them having access to necrotic damage just makes a lot of sense. Rally is a first rank maneuver. So I know it's still first rank, but we're all new here. So Rally is you and one ally that you can see gain a number of temporary hit points equal to the total of 1 power die rolled for each mana expended this way. It's a first rank power, so you can use it at first level. And just to remind everyone, with the scaffolding here, the power die is like a martial arts die, maneuver die, bardic inspiration die, flash of insight die, proficiency die. It's you get a D6 at first level, a D8 at 9th level, and a D10 at 17th level. So when I spend a point of mana, like in that example, if I'm 9th level and I can use 3 mana at a time as a 3rd rank, I could spend 3 mana to roll 3d8, and with the rally power, both me and an ally I choose will get that many temporary hit points, but it costs me 3 mana to use it. At 9th level, I have 2 mana from sacrificing my bonus action, so I could say sacrifice. I could either you can use maneuvers as either magic actions or bonus actions. So like I could sacrifice both of my attacks this round to gain 2 free points of mana, sacrifice my reaction, and as my bonus action, I've generated 3 points of mana for free. I could throw down a 3rd rank rally and give myself and my ally 3d8 points worth of temporary hit points to tack on. And I could do that every round while we're in combat. Obviously, I'm not doing anything else other than moving and rallying my allies, but since I'm generating 3d8 temporary hit points of damage each round for myself and an ally, I could walk into harm's way and start taking damage on the front line and just using my maneuvers to create a ward of temporary hit points around myself and bless one of my allies with it at the same time. So I can tank damage and help buff my allies with more temporary hit points so that they can tank as well. It's like an off-tank strategy by making yourself somewhat indestructible in that the damage that they're taking can be neutralized. So that's like an example. So that's a fun, that makes sense for Way of the Long Death. Curse of the Fallen Puppet, it's a 2nd rank reaction. We've taken literally everything from the Blood Hunter subclasses, rituals, curses, rites, all that stuff, and we've converted them into powers as well. So you could play a Blood Hunter as a paladin, for instance. In this instance, Curse of the Fallen Puppet, if you're not familiar with the Blood Hunter already, The Curse of the Fallen Puppet is, as a reaction to when a creature you can see drops to 0 hit points, you can command the creature to move up to half its speed and make a melee attack against a creature that you can see. The effect ends immediately after the creature attacks, and it's already dead. So you can just keep it alive a little bit longer to go attack something before it drops truly dead. It's so much awesome flavor. I love everything that the Blood Hunter can do. I just hate the way that it does it. I think using hit points as a resource, especially with 2024 rules, is stupid and broken, because every level of spell that you cast, you get 2d8 hit points. But all these Blood Hunter features only cost like 2, maybe 4 hit points to use. You're always gaining more. Your cleric spending their mana to heal the Blood Hunter allows the Blood Hunter to spam rites and curses perpetually and always be topped off on hit points. Its hit points as a resource does not work in the 5e game action economy. It just doesn't work. So it's a bad design. I respect the flavor of it. I'm not into cutting yourself to gain power. I've talked a lot about using hit dice as a mana. Like, you can exchange hit dice for mana. That's something like the Barbarian can do. So a Barbarian makes an awesome Blood Hunter because you can sacrifice your hit dice. And instead, the Barbarian, instead of using the power die that they get at first level, if you sacrifice your hit die, you can roll a d12 as your power die instead of a d6. And since we're talking about the monk uses the monk's martial arts die instead of this power die progression. So a monk would also start at a d6, but at 5th level it would be d8. At 11th level it would be a d10, and it's a d12 at 17th level. So the monk is just automatically better at channeling powers, basically better than any other subclass just by raw statistics. And honestly, there's not a lot that makes the monk stand out from the other martial classes in typical D&D. Like, it's not a standout, but with this system, they are statistically superior. The Battle Master also has upgraded dice, D8, D10, and D12 when you take the Battle Master subclass. So it can hit just as hard. It's a really fun way to mix the system up. And there's like all these tools and little components that exist in the 5e24 game engine that feel kind of disparate, and like they're good ideas, but there's no like real common unifying theme. But by introducing this core mana mechanic as your base foundation for how a character utilizes resources, suddenly all these little odd mechanics, like these little like nuanced niche mechanics that each class or subclass gets, they all suddenly fold into how am I using my mana different than the fighter is. So now these things aren't just like ugly stepchildren concepts. Now they have a purpose because they're modifying how you're using your mana. So like having like a monk paladin blend is like you're using a really strong power die for all your paladin smites, and you can use your bonus action to ramp the number of dice you can roll when you smite. It's like a paladin monk multi-class is like, that's a really strong option. There's a ton of really cool synergies that this allows you to build, not only between martial classes, but also between full casters as well. But I digress. Daunting Presence, I think that's still 3rd rank. Let's double check. It's a sustained power, and again, you can sustain powers that are like non-concentration creature auras that you basically spend mana to trigger and maintain on yourself. It's called being sustained. Instead of maintaining concentration, you sustain power. And you can sustain a total amount of mana equal to your max rank. So at 17th level, you can have up to 5 mana. And that could be 5 first rank powers. It could be like a 2nd and 3rd rank power. It could be a 2nd rank power and 3 first rank powers. So you can stack these all up. So they're basically like hyper feats that you sustain. You spend mana to turn them on, and then they stay on until you're either dispelled or incapacitated or start a long rest. And while they're on, you like if I have 4 mana sustaining auras and I take my short rest, I don't get those 4 points of mana back because I'm using them. I'm already using that mana, but I haven't expended it yet. It's tapped. Like in Magic the Gathering, you tap mana to trigger effects. When you tap your mana, like I could tap 4 mana to turn on 4 ranks worth of sustained powers. Basically, I'm sustaining 4 levels worth of magical auras on my character by having that 4 mana tap down on like my Boros Swiftblade is now able to like perpetually have haste active and have first strike, for instance. I can just turn those things on and leave them on by tapping my mana. So when I untap the mana, I lose that. It's now expended and that power turns off. Now I can regain that mana. But while it remains tapped, I can't regain the mana. So when I start my short rest, I could dispel all of the auras on me, get all my mana back, and then just take the moment to turn them all back on again. Or I can just leave them on during my short rest and get the mana back. Either or. It's like 6 or a half dozen, up to you. I was supposed to be looking at Daunting Presence. Here we go. 3rd rank. Yeah, it is 3rd rank. And again, this book is all this playtest content. It's available to everyone. And here's the document. It's read only for you, so it's you can't just like cut and paste it. But you can eat the ideas. And just like all the other mana books that I've done, all these other books, they're all 100% free preview. So this will eventually be something you could just grab off the DMsGuild and use. I get daily reports of people picking up stuff for free and looking at it, and then coming back around and buying the full bundle like 2 or 3 days later. It's really cool. So I mean, I appreciate it. It's God's willing, this will eventually be my full-time job. So until then, give the people. You should be able to read the book to see if it's something that you want to buy. If it's useful to you, people tend to come back and buy it because it's useful. It's like, those are cool ideas, but I'll never use this. And then I don't want you to have to pay for it to find that out. That's just mean. So anyway, honesty, man. When I'm not relying on this to pay my bills, I can be a real person. And if I can just do that long enough, then I can become a real person, and it pays for itself too. So I've got 20 years to figure it out. So God willing, I'll get there. Anyway, while sustaining this power, attacks targeting you by creatures you can see roll with disadvantage. When you are the only target of an effect that requires you to make a saving throw, you roll with advantage. In addition, while sustaining this power, you can expend 1 mana and target a creature as a unique first rank maneuver. So you can do it as an action, as a magic action, as a bonus action. You can do it twice in the same round if you wanted to, because you can do them both. We don't have a limitation like that. So in addition, while sustaining this power, you can expend 1 mana to target a creature as a unique first rank maneuver, so it costs 1 mana. If the target fails a wisdom saving throw, it is frightened of you while it remains within line of sight. The creature can make an additional save at the end of each of its turns to end the frightened condition. So there you go. Daunting Presence. Long Death is scary. So that tracks. Assassinating Damage is a 4th rank exploit, and Rite of Revival is a 4th rank reaction. So let's look at the reaction first. On the way. 4th rank reaction, Rite of Revival for 4 mana at 13th level. As a reaction, when you drop to 0 hit points but don't die outright, you remain conscious and roll a number of power dice equal to the mana channeled. At least 4, but at 17th level it can be 5. Gaining a number of hit points equal to the total rolled, up to your maximum hit point total. So if I drop to 0, if I have a reaction available, I can pop 4 mana, and instead of dying, I get hit points. But it's expensive. It's more expensive than a Revivification spell is. Revivify is only 2nd level, and so it's only 2 mana to trigger that. But I actually have to hit the ground and die, and then you hit me with Revivify, and then you have to also dump some hit points into me. So it's a multi-step process for cheap. But with this, you skip all that crap, but you have to spend a lot of mana to do it. And the other one is Assassinating Damage as an exploit. So looking at Assassinating Damage, here you go. Assassinating Damage, 4 mana. When you deal damage with a weapon attack to a target that has yet to act in combat or is unaware of your attack, you can re-roll any number of damage dice, keeping the higher result. This includes any additional damage dice, such as those gained from a critical hit, sneak attack, or channeling a strike power. So when you make an attack, they're not aware of you or they haven't acted yet in combat, you can so if you roll like 10d6 on a sneak attack, and I get a couple 1s, but I get a bunch of 6s, I can keep the 6s and re-roll the 1s and replace those dice with a new result. So you're ramping up your damage. There you go. Okay, so those are all the powers. They're all valid. Those are all properly synchronized. So let's look at the subclass features. Touch of Death. During combat, and again, we're extracting all of these from what the base class already has, but we've updated them for 2024 sensibilities and to use the mana to have it using the mana system. Just because I'm using the mana system doesn't mean that a subclass feature needs to use mana, but a lot of them can. So, and because we can generate mana round to round, a lot of these things that we can do are a lot more accessible or spammable as basically additional powers that you get as your subclass. So, Touch of Death. During combat, when a creature that has dealt damage to you is reduced to 0 hit points while within reach of your weapon attack, you can gain a number of temporary hit points. That should be while within reach of your melee weapon attack. Because otherwise you might be like, well, yeah, you're within reach of my longbow. It's a 320-foot range, right? No. During combat, when a creature has dealt damage to you is reduced to 0 hit points, while within reach of your melee weapon attack, you can gain a number of temporary hit points equal to 1 power die, plus your channeling ability modifier, which is a minimum of 1. And a monk can choose strength, dexterity, or wisdom. You can choose one of those 3 to be your channeling stats, and all your saving throws, all your stuff is off of whatever that stat is that you choose. So we give you multiple options for your channeling stat, so it's easier for you to multi-class with other classes if you're into like deck building your character by building unique action loops and solutions over your course of your 20 levels by mixing multiple subclasses together. It's like a monk paladin could work because a paladin could use strength, wisdom, or charisma as your channeling stat. And then that opens you up like to druid and cleric, which uses their wisdom as their spellcasting stat. So you could multi-class monk, paladin, cleric into like a really kick-ass like death god zealot. Like that'd be really cool. That'd be a really cool thing to build. And then another feature, Hour of Reaping, you gain a unique first rank maneuver. Again, maneuvers can be channeled as magic actions and as bonus actions twice in the same turn if you want. So you gain, it only costs 1 mana. You gain a unique first rank maneuver that targets a number of creatures equal to the max rank of power gained as a monk. So at 6th level, your max rank is 2 right now as a half-caster. So you can channel for 1 mana. You can channel 2 creatures that are within 60 feet of you that you can see. Each creature targeted must succeed a wisdom saving throw or be frightened of you until the end of the next turn. And that's very similar to Daunting Presence, which is 3 mana. But this makes it difficult for you to target, and it just happens to have that kicker effect of making things scared of you. This allows you to do that earlier on. So, like, Hour of Reaping overlaps Daunting Presence, but it's still useful unto itself. Hey, what's up, Fernando? Do you use any kind of rules which, while writing the document, not the D&D rules, but stylistic rules, such as writing levels in bold and italics? Generally, I use larger fonts in larger sections. Like the book title will have the largest font, and then like this, like Barbarian will have a font that's a little bit smaller than the title font. But then I'll use a smaller font below that for subclasses. And then each subclass will have a smaller font than just a general category of subclasses. And then the font for the titles of the features in the subclass will be smaller than the subclass title. It's not set in this book. It's just here to make things easier. When I hand this off to an editor, generally we strip out all formatting so that they're just focusing on the words, not how the words are supposed to be structured. When you get it back from the editor, that's when, as a layout artist, I start layering in what size font do I need for this book? How is it organized? How many levels deep do we go in nesting text inside a text inside a text? Like you have base text, subclass features, subclass, class, title, or class, and then you have like the chapter on character classes, and then the book title that the classes are inside of, that the barbarian is inside of, that the barbarian subclasses are inside of, that the subclass features are inside of, that the text is inside of. So there's 6 levels generally in D&D 5e anyway. There's generally 5 levels of nesting font sizes from book title down to body font. So like 12-point body font, 14-point subclass feature, 16-point subclasses, 18-point font class barbarian, 22-point font classes, and like 30 font martial powers as a book title. Like that's seeding. Like you need to figure out how many levels of depth do you have to determine what the font size for your subclass and like your different titles and stuff like that are. Good question. Let's see. What's our next feature? Hour of Reaping. We just did that one. Mastery of Death, level 11. When you would be reduced to 0 hit points, you can expend 1 mana, no action required, to gain a number of hit points equal to the result of a martial arts die instead. And this doesn't even require an reaction. When you would be reduced to 0 hit points, you can spend a point of mana and get hit points instead. Yeah, it doesn't require any action economy. So this is really good, but it's also not a lot of hit points. You can get early on, but like Rite of Revival at 13th level, you can throw 4 dice and get like 27, 30 hit points back. That's really good. This is quick and easy and cheap, but it's probably going to have to be something you do over and over again. So I can get killed like 6 times in a round this way, but I have to spend 6 mana over the course of the round. And it's not a maneuver or a reaction, so I can't spend action economy to make it to generate mana to make it cheaper. Touch of Long Death, 17. As a magic action, you touch one creature within reach of your unarmed attack. You can expend 1 to 10 mana. The target must make a Constitution saving throw, and it takes 2d10 necrotic damage per mana on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. So that is pretty much pulled from the book right now. It's super whopping damage. I know it's huge mana, but it's also 17th level. It's basically that's basically equivalent to a disintegrate spell. So it's not actually outclocking anything, because it would be 10d10 damage, so up to 100 damage, while a disintegrate spell does 6d10 plus 40 damage. So this is literally the same amount of damage that a disintegrate spell could cause. There you go. Easy peasy, right? So, hey, thank you. You're welcome. I was using some style in a document, but later I tried to change the layout following the D&D books, and I realized I was I try to make things that are visually easy to digest. I don't necessarily care if it follows the formatting of Wizards of the Coast's decisions or not. I think Wizards makes a lot of questionable decisions. So I don't think making it look like their book makes it more professional. I think being well organized and self-consistent is what makes it professional. Balance and ease of digesting the material easily and making it easy to look at, easy on the eye, with lots of empty space, like soft fonts that aren't hard to look at for long periods of time. That I think is more professional than like what specific font are they using for subclasses or like subtitles, for example. But that's just me. Okay, so hey, Long Death works just great. Let's take a look at. Hold on, let me check in on my timing here. How we doing? We're doing great. I should have time to get through the Sun Soul subclass, and then probably peel through some Paladin ideas. And then when we come back Monday night, we'll be able to kick on through the Paladins. So let's keep it up. We have the Sun Soul. We're going to look at our subclass options again. Where is it? Here it is. And let's go to the right window. So what we got? Fire damage, which is a basic damage type. Sharpshooter. Sharpshooter. That makes so much sense because you get that ranged attack as a subclass feature. That's super fun. That's a feat that's viable. Power armor is a sustained effect. It basically acts as like a scaling mage armor ability. Radiant damage, which is an advanced damage type. Guys, this is so old that I'm labeling them as basic and advanced damage types. But yeah, radiant damage, you can just automatically deal radiant damage when you prepare this, starting at 5th level. Axiom Strike, that might be first rank now. Let's find out. Baka Baka. This is another one of the Blood Hunter abilities. Oh yeah, it is second rank. Your weapon can deal radiant damage and increases damage by 1 power die per mana channeled. The creature glows with a faint light, negating the benefits of invisibility or concealment. The creature must succeed a charisma saving throw or any illusion or shape change effects targeting the hit creature end. The glowing fades after 1 minute. Flaming Strike, first rank. Flaming Strike. Your weapon can deal fire damage and increases damage by 1 power die per mana channeled. The creature is caught on fire, taking fire damage. The creature is caught on fire. Wait. Taking fire damage equal to the result. There's a burning condition now in 5e24, but it only deals d4 damage per turn. So, or per round. So, like at the beginning of your turn, it deals fire damage. This is different. So I didn't specifically say the creature has the burning condition because it scales differently. Taking fire damage equal to the result of the highest power die roll at the end of its turn. The creature can attempt to end this effect by spending an action to put out the fire or succeeding a dexterity saving throw at the end of each of its turns before taking damage. So if I put, like, say, 4 points of mana into a Flaming Strike as like an 11th level monk, or it'd be a 13th level monk because of 4 mana, 4th rank, I'd be dealing 4d10 extra fire damage. And of those 4 die rolls, like say I rolled a 3, a 5, an 8, and a 10, I would keep the 10, and until that guy puts himself out or succeeds a saving throw, I'll do an extra 10 points of damage every round to them. And it's up to them to put themselves out or succeed their saving throw. Otherwise, they're just going to keep burning. That's on you, buddy. But all these powers stop after 1 minute. So everything in here that has, like, you're on fire until you end it, well, that will automatically end after 1 minute. The range on all these powers that you can see or whatever, all of them have 60 feet range unless it says so otherwise. Like, there's a constant that goes on with power that a consistent base of no, and like when you use power, you don't use verbal, somatic, and material components, but there's an obvious visual tell. There's a visual manifestation of the color that you're using in mana to represent that you're channeling power. So, like, if I hit you with a Flaming Strike and I'm, like, say, using red mana, when I hit you, you're going to be wreathed in red flames that are all over you, that flow from you into the target that you hit as you channel the strike power. Or Sun Soul, it could be Radiance, so, like, maybe it's white magic that I'm channeling. So you get hit with white flames. There you go. Like, there's a visual tell, so you can always tell that there's power here. Power is being used. You can literally see it, which is one of the real strengths of the color mana system, is how literal the visual tells are in using color magic. I love that. You can just, the DM can just say, yeah, he's wreathed in blue and red flames. It's like, well, he obviously has some sort of stacking effects going on here. There's probably some sort of warding or trickery magic, that, like, a defensive capability, as well as some sort of aggression or damage effect that's going on. So, because of the blue and the red correspondingly. Blinding Strike and Empowered Synergy. Blinding Strike is 2nd rank. Blinding Strike, your weapon can deal radiant damage and increases damage by 1 power die per mana channeled. In addition, the creature is blinded. It's not you get a saving throw or blinded. You are just blind. The creature can attempt to end this effect by succeeding in Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. You have to hit to make these things turn on. So the barrier of use is successfully attacking. And if you succeed in the attack, then you spend the mana to turn the thing on, and you deal damage and you deal a condition. And in this case, the condition is blindness. Because blindness gives you advantage to attack and then disadvantage to attack. It has 2 effects. That's why it has to be at least 2nd rank. Because 1 point of mana per condition effect is generally how this system works. The more effects you cause, the higher rank of power it's going to take for you to channel it, the longer it's going to be before your character has access to it. It's just a scaffolding. It's just a power balance scaffolding issue. So, but yeah, you get hit with it, you get blinded, it turns on, you can end it at the end of your round. These powers are a great way to chew through legendary actions, for instance. Like, if you want to fight that red dragon, hit it with a Blinding Strike. You've blinded it for a moment for the brilliance of your strike. And now, if it wants to get out of that, if it fails its saving throw at the end of its turn, I'm going to burn a legendary reaction just so I can hit these guys. But that's chewing through their legendary reactions so that your spellcasters can line up their wallops more easily, you know? Oh yeah, and then Empowered Synergy is an exploit, second rank. Empowered Synergy, when you channel a maneuver or a sustained power, and both of those can be done as an action, as a magic action or as a bonus action, you can make a weapon attack on top of it with advantage as part of channeling that maneuver. This attack can be made before, after, or while you channel the power. This is why, coincidentally, this is why we recently changed bonus attack to be an exploit instead of a maneuver. Originally, bonus attack was a maneuver that read when you can use your bonus action to make weapon attack, but we changed it to an exploit that instead of attacking as an action, you can make an attack as a bonus action because we like having empowered synergy. It's expensive, sure, but it allows you to like do something that might not be like rally isn't very progressive. It just holds the ground with you, but rally is a maneuver. So if I use Rally and then I put Empowered Synergy on top of it, not only can me and an ally get temporary hit points, but I can also hit you. And I'll do it with an advantage. So my Rogue is rewarded for stacking effects of maneuvers while making combat attacks. So like these things fold together. Hey, what's up? Give all the power to the Sun Monk, otherwise it'll be useless. I know, right? This is a real... You can decide what your action loops look like if you're a healer, a support character, a striker, a guardian. You have all these different... A skill monkey. These are your options depending on how you kit out your character. And every time you finish a long rest, you can swap at least one power, depending on what your character class is. So you can swap at least one power every time you finish a long rest. And so your character can evolve with the adventures. You aren't held to the spells that you have until you gain a level. It's like, fuck, none of this stuff is going to help me right now. It's like, no, I know we're fighting cold monsters next turn or tomorrow. I'm going to prepare fire damage to make sure I can hurt those guys. This makes your character more adaptive and interactive with the campaign around it. And the DM is more free to throw new weird challenges at you. It's like the first day you're fighting these things, fuck, we don't have any fire damage stacked up right now. We're getting our asses kicked. Let's retreat and rest so that we can recalibrate our weaponry so that we can come back and we can hurt these guys. That's a progressively generated playing the campaign. Letting the characters play the campaign where it's taking you without having to worry about, is this fair to my players or not? Of course it is. They can swap their powers around. You can do anything you want to them. It's their fault if they didn't see it in advance. And if they can survive long enough to get over that regret, they can fix their kit and come at it again prepared to deal with what they now know they can survive. It's a fun way of engaging your campaign and having more reasons to take downtime and retreat. Like, I'm going to need 3 days for me to be recalibrated to take on this threat. Well, that's going to give the wizard 3 days to make some more scrolls. Let's go for it. Awesome. Let's do some town shit while we're doing it. There you go. What was I looking at? Oh yeah, that was Empowered Synergy. It's super fun. And then we have Unnatural Resistance and Opportunist. So that name changed. They're both sustained powers. Adaptive Resistance. We changed the name. We used to have 3 separate powers. One dealt with BPS and poison damage. Another one dealt with like force or like necrotic damage, and another one dealt with elemental damage. It was elemental resistance, unnatural resistance for like necromancy, necrotic, and like radiant damage, and then we had natural resistance. It was 3 powers originally, but now we've boiled it all into 1 power that you can pick and add to. So at 17th level, you have 5 ranks of power. I could like gain resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, and thunder damage for all 5 mana, or I could pick up natural resistance for 2. That gives me BPS and poison damage resistance. And then I could, like, say, pick up psychic damage resistance because we're going to go fight Lithid, right? That makes sense. And then I have 1 point left over. Let's make it resistant to, like, thunder damage so I can't get pushed around as easily. So that's my 5 mana. I've just stacked all that up on resistances. I can't pick up Blind Sense and Celerity and stuff like that. But I can tank the hell out of damage now. So, and every time, and because it's a menu list here, I could turn off the power and turn it back on and completely change my kit. So like I'm fighting Lithid right now, so I need that psychic damage, but now that they're dead, I'm fighting Umber Hulks. So now I want to be resistant to the bludgeoning damage. So I'm going to drop the psychic damage and instead for 2, pick up BPS resistance instead. So now I can tank hits from the Umber Hulks. So I can just do that as a round of activity. And then Opportunist. Opportunist is super fun. Opportunist says, second rank. While this power is sustained, you can, during your turn, when you take the attack action, you can forgo one or more of your attacks in the attack action to gain an additional number of reactions. Limited one per turn still, but you can also do it during your own until the beginning of your next turn. So if I'm 5th level and I have Opportunist active, when I take the attack action, I can sacrifice both my attacks. I now have 3 reactions, which I can use with reaction powers to be like an actual tank that like stops people from advancing, takes all the damage away from who you wanted to hit and gives it to somebody else, for instance, or like to create a block, like to create a barrier that you can't actually attack through at all. These are all different reaction stuff that I can do. And in addition, when I take a reaction, I can forgo any number of those attacks to generate a point of mana, because you can generate a point of mana every time you use a reaction. So Opportunist lets me generate mana to use as part of a reaction when it's not my turn. So this is a high utility that lets me completely change my character from being an aggressive striker to being a tanking protector, warding my allies from taking any damage or even from being attacked at all. Depending on like if I'm using provoking or like goading effects, for instance, or like turning people invisible so you can't target them properly. There's all sorts of cool stuff that you can do. But having more reactions to do it with is great. If like if my wizard wanted to become a war mage, I could take 5 levels of fighter, pick up Eldritch Knight as my subclass, get a bunch of bonus spells from that I could use to generate mana to pay for the spells that I can cast as an Eldritch Knight to buy down the cost of, like, say, a counterspell. So I could take Opportunist, have 3 reactions, use my huge mana pool from my wizard and my martial character to be able to spam out counterspells up to, at 5th level, 3 per round. If I'm willing to spend like 9 mana on it, it'd be expensive. But that's a kind of... Actually, it'd have to be 9th level because the Eldritch Knight wouldn't get access to 3rd level spells until... Oh, shit. It's an Eldritch Knight. Eldritch Knights don't get access to 3rd level spells until level 11. So I could be an 11th level Eldritch Knight and like a 9th level Wizard. For a total of 20 levels, I would have 3 counter spells per round if I wanted to set up my character that way. But that's my action. I've specialized into being a warding guardian. Like, that'd be an awesome Azorius character. Like, if I wanted to play an Azorius guardian, that would be incredibly sick. Hold on. I'm geeking out a little bit. Let me fix my screen. There. You know, if you're into MTG stuff. Okay, so that's the subclass features, the bonus action. So Radiant Sunbolt. And again, we're pulling all of this from the Player's Handbook 2014. It hasn't been updated for 2024. So this is how I would do it. And if Wizards eventually comes out with Sun Soul, then I'll look at what they did and we'll update it accordingly. Because I'd rather translate official content than make up my own content, which is why I stay inside the 5e game engine and why I use the DMsGuild. I love Magic the Gathering, and that's open to the DMsGuild because of Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, Curriculum of Chaos, Strixhaven, and Odysseys of Theros. I can use Magic the Gathering ideas and make content and put it on the DMsGuild. That's all perfectly within license. Radiant Sunbolt, you gain a new attack option that you can use with the attack action. Radiant Sunbolt is a thrown weapon attack with a range of 30 feet. The attack counts as a martial arts weapon that you are proficient with, and you add you add your channeling ability modifier to the attack and damage rolls. Its damage is radiant, and its damage die is equal to your power die. When you can attack with a weapon, you can replace that attack, including opportunity attacks if the target is within reach of your unarmed attacks, with a Radiant Sunbolt that can be used with any combat mastery, feats, and powers you know as a normal weapon. And now getting Sharpshooter makes sense because we can apply the Sharpshooter feat to your Sunbolts and you gain them at the same level. 6th level, Searing Sun Arc. You gain the ability to channel mana into searing waves of energy as a maneuver. So it's a maneuver, which you can use as a bonus action, magic action, or both in the same round. You deal 1 power die of fire damage for each point of mana expended up to your max channeling limit gained as a monk. So a 17th level monk could do 5 mana for 5d12 fire damage to all targets in a 15-foot cone. Affected creatures can make a dexterity saving throw for half damage. I can use this twice per turn. So, excuse me for a second. I have to adjust my seat. It's a little squeaky. There we go. All right, I'm in my last 20 minutes before I have to go back to work. So, we'll get done with this, no problem. Searing Sunburst. There we go. We have Searing Sun Arc, and now we have Searing Sunburst. Is that how these things are really titled? Is that... Did I miswrite these things? Radiant Sunbolt. Searing Arc Strike. And Searing Sunburst. Yeah, okay. As a maneuver, again, a maneuver, action, bonus action, twice in the same turn if I want. You can magically create an orb and hurl it at a point you can choose within 150 feet where it erupts into a sphere of radiant light for a brief but deadly instant. Each creature in that 20-foot radius sphere must make a Constitution saving throw or take 1 power die of damage for each point expended, up to the max rank of power gained as a monk. And at 11th level, it's 3 mana, and you're rolling D10s, so it'd be 3d10 damage for 3 mana, and I can do that twice per turn. A creature doesn't need to make a save if the creature is behind total cover that is opaque. So there's a reaction that we have in here that creates an opaque structure that acts as a block from any attack that comes at. Is a reaction for when you're attacked. So you could use that against these effects to neutralize damage on this. But that's really niche. But yeah, it's basically fireball. 150-foot fireball range that does 3d10 damage every time you hurl it, up to 5d10 damage at 17th level. It's not huge damage, but it is AoE, and you can spam the fuck out of it because it's a maneuver. So at 17th level, I could, and there's no limit, so it could only be like, I get it at 11th level, so I could use like 2 mana. I could spend my bonus action to generate 2 points of mana that I could then hurl as a magic action to do 2d10 damage to everybody in the area. That's use my action, my bonus action. I still have my movement and my reaction left over. So you can move through a round. Like once you know what your character can do and how they do it, you can crack through a round of combat very, very quickly because I'm doing this. Here's my rolls and here's the results. And you go. And because a lot of these things aren't front-loaded with saving throws, it's not like I try to blind them. Let me make my saving throw. What's your saving throw again? Bloody blah. Oh, you succeeded. No. It becomes the DM's responsibility at the end of the round to end these effects. It gets the player through their turn more quickly. I turn this thing on. Fuck, that fucks your opponent over for a round. Cool, I did the thing. And your players get through their rounds quickly so you can all rotate through. And we all know we're going to take a little bit of time on the DM's turn anyway. So the DM just takes a fistful of D20s and just throws them down and just starts allocating them to the people that have been affected by stuff. And you just remove the conditions. It's the complexity of conditions in this game is probably somewhere between 5e and Pathfinder 2. It is obviously more tactical and character option centered. So it has more complexity than the base 5e game engine. But all the tactical, like for example, with this system, forced movement triggers opportunity attacks. So if you use a Thundering Strike to punt somebody 30 feet and that path that you punt them through passes through the opportunity attack area of 2 of your allies, as they fly through the area, each of you guys could hit them with an attack on the way by. Because you're going to get your reaction no matter what, by using forced movement to trigger reactions, you can actually trigger an opportunity attack for yourself by kicking somebody out of your area of effect. Like if I take a Warhammer and hit him with a Thundering Strike and punt him 30 feet, on his way out of my reach, I can hit him again to get that reaction in. My reaction's gone, but I've basically comboed off of a creature off of my own action economy. And you can literally juggle people that way. Oh, it's super fun. So it's like it gives you reasons to think about positioning. Like I want to line people up so when I hit them, I can push them or trip them. Like there's things that allow you to trigger opportunity attacks when people get knocked down. So if you got a bunch of people gathered around something and they all pick up downtrodding, when you knock them prone, they can all trigger reactions to hit him on the way down, for instance. Hey, what's up? Congrats on the monk. I'm having a fireball-like ability, 6 levels late. You know. It's still really good though. I mean, Fireball. It's Fireball is 5th level for a wizard, 11th level for the monk. Sure, at 6th level, when you would normally get Fireball, you get the Syrian Arc Strike. It's only a 50-foot area, but it's a lot of damage. You know, there's let's see what's something. Now I feel titled. I'm sorry, not titled. I feel challenged. So let's see. There's not a lot of direct damage stuff that we do in here because direct damage by mana is that's what full casters do. Marshals hit things, and when they hit things, they do damage. But like for example, it's still a weapon attack. But let's look at Bursting Strike is 3rd level. That's 9th level. That you would get that as a martial character. And when you hit somebody, like if I shoot you with a crossbow bolt, right? Your weapon deals 1 power die of additional damage per mana channeled. So I'm going to put at least 3 mana into it. So like say 3d8 damage on top of the crossbow bolt I just hit you with. And then everybody that's within 10 feet of you is going to take that 3d10 damage as well. And like as a fighter, like as a 9th level fighter using bonus attacks, I could potentially do that 4 times per turn. It's 9th level, sure, but I could do it 4 times if I wanted to dump 12 mana into it. I could do 4 mini fireballs. It's 9th level, it's not 5th level, sure. So let's look at something that maybe is a lower level. Let's see. There's Sweeping Strike, which can hit another target at 1st level. So I can hit you, and then I can hit you with another one. So at 5th level, I can put 2 mana into Sweeping Strike and do 2d6 and then 2d6 on top of the weapon damage. There are Sustained Powers. Like, for example, at 5th level, when you get Fireball, we have Deadly Presence, which is while sustaining this power and you're not restrained, stunned, paralyzed, or incapacitated, any creature that you can see that begins its turn or moves within reach of your melee attack takes a power die of weapon damage. It's not a lot of damage, but it's literally anything that comes near you automatically takes that damage. So it's a different gear. Yeah, direct damage at range using mana. That's what full casters are for, nuking shit from orbit. It's the only way. That's the job for a sorcerer. We have options that can make you like a sorcerer, but they come in at later levels. So yeah, you can happily sass the monk for that, but it's marshals. Marshals don't do like large control area of effects. They don't do utility magic. They can do utility stuff to modify their own ability checks. But like I changed the fabric of reality, that is spell casting. So there's a definite switch between what spellcasters are really good at versus what marshals are really good at. So I don't mind you sassing me on that. But there are ways for us to do AoE effects, but it's still going to be triggered off of weapon attacks. Hey, what's up? The best thing about Sun Monk Fireball is that it's a con save. Yeah, that is pretty good. Affects better mounted units and their mounts that have... Definitely true. Let's see. What was the last thing? 17. Sun Shield. You shed bright light in a 30-foot radius and dim light for an additional 30 feet. You can extinguish or restore the light as a bonus action. The light is magical effects. The light is a magical effect as a level 10 spell, and you have true sight within reach of the bright light. So the reason why level 10 is relevant is because of spell effects. Like if I cast a darkness spell at 6th level, it takes at least a 6th level spell, a 6th level light spell, or like sunlight or whatever, to penetrate and neutralize that darkness. Otherwise, the darkness prevails. So at 17th level, your monk is producing a 10th level spell effect that can literally knock out anything in the game other than a wish. So, cheers. In addition, if a creature hits, and you have true sight inside of it, that's really useful. In addition, if a creature hits you with an attack while within reach of the bright light, you can use your reaction as an opportunity attack to deal radiant damage to the creature. The radiant damage equals 1 power die plus your channeling ability modifier. That's not a lot of damage, but it's an opportunity attack. So that means that you can, in addition, you hit with an attack while within the reach of the bright light. The bright light has a 30-foot reach. You can use your reaction as an opportunity attack, which means it's effectively a weapon attack. you can now use you can channel strike powers through it. So even though it's only doing 1 power die plus your channeling ability modifier and damage, I could tack on extra mana to use any strike power I know as part of the opportunity attack. So I could actually put one power die, like a D12 plus 5 damage, but then I could dump 5 more damage and like do a like a banishing strike. So you'll take an extra 5d12 damage, and now you've just gone to hell for a little while. I'll see you in a bit. And since it's an opportunity attack, if I have Opportunist turned on, I could sacrifice both of my attacks and do that 3 times per turn. It's really, like, this was a shit ability in the 5e24 version. This is ridiculous. But ridiculous is where you're supposed to be at 17th level. Here's what it used to be. 17th level, you become wreathed in luminous magical aura, bright light 30 feet, dim light 30 feet, and extinguish and turn it on as a bonus action. If a creature hits you with a melee attack, while this light shines, you can use a reaction to deal radiant damage to the target equal to damage is only 5 plus your wisdom modifier. That's your 17th level that's your 17th level subclass feature. That's garbage. The things that we've built in this kit makes your sun shield being active really fucking dangerous, because you can also have Daunting Presence on at the same time, so you can automatically be dealing D12 damage to them just for being near you, and then you use your reaction to do an extra D12 plus 5, channeling stat, and then you can put you can stack a power on top of it. It has a 30-foot reach, and you could do it with Opportunist 3 times per turn if you sacrifice your attack actions. So you become really freaking dangerous. I love that. Anyway, that's yeah. This is garbage. The original Sun Shield, that was crap. Like, what they've done with 5e24 in general, like, so outclasses what this can do. This really is more in line with what you should be able to do in 5e24 with subclasses, but they don't have the mechanical language to explain how these things work. Like, this mana system we have gives us a base scaffold to build these ideas on top of it with a consistent power structure and damage scaling system that remains consistent. Let's see. The light is magical. In addition, if a creature hits you with an attack while within reach of the bright light, you can use a reaction as an opportunity attack to deal radiant damage to the creature. The radiant damage equals 1 power die plus your channeling ability modifier. And you can use, I'm going to add this in just to make it clear. And you can use, and you can channel a strike power as part of the opportunity attack. Actually, that makes me wonder. Let's go back into the channeling rules. Range effect, range attacks, targeting powers, saving throws, visual effects, overlapping effects, determining area of effects, saving throws, disrupting and dismissing powers, damage resilience, immune, resistant, normal, unlisted types, vulnerable and lethal, forced movement triggering actions, affecting gargantuan creatures of various sizes, visual effects, determining saving throws, range of effects, duration effects, meta powers, sustained powers, strike powers, reactions. Reaction powers are instant effects that can be channeled when you take a reaction that triggers when specific circumstances occur as described in each reaction power. Only reaction powers can be used in response to a triggered circumstance, even if only one reaction power can be used in response to a triggering circumstance, even if multiple reactions can be triggered. And you can only take one reaction during a turn. When, I'm going to add this in because this should be in here, but I don't see it. When you make an opportunity attack or can make an attack or make a weapon attack as a reaction, you can channel strike powers as part of the damage if you succeed in the attack. roll. If you hit. There, that codifies it. So reaction powers, Sun Shield. In addition, if you're hit, the radiant damage deals like a power die. There's a channeling ability of fire. In addition, if a creature hits you with an attack while within reach of the bright light, you can use a reaction as an opportunity attack to deal radiant damage. There you go. That cleans it up because it's defined as an opportunity attack specifically. So that invokes opportunity attacks. I'm going to just spell it out as a separate thing just to make sure it's spelled out. This would be a smaller font than reaction powers because this is a subset of what reactions are. So there it is. But that spells it out and qualifies it. That was actually a gap that we needed, which is why we do this. Which is why we go through this reviewing to make sure that we have all the mechanical language that we actually need to make these things function the way that they're supposed to. And that resolves the Sun Shield, the Sun Soul Monk. This guy is naturally just built for Boros, white and red, but you could do like an Orzhov white black. You could Selesnya white green would obviously work with Sunshine. Sunshine as a spell is naturally both white and green anyway. So that makes a lot of sense. And Azorius as well would qualify for Sun Soul. Like anything that would naturally dip into either white or red mana as a guild or a Strixhaven school, or even like Silver Quill could borrow off this. Lorehold could borrow off of this. But what's absolutely just obvious flavor is Boros. More than anything, and probably Abzan. More than anything else. Love it. All right, so that finishes the monk. We've still got a few minutes. So looking at the Paladin, here's the full chat. We're going to continue with the Paladin on Monday, but we have just a few moments here. So let's look at the chassis real quick. Channeling, we have, again, here's our scaffold. So we have the short rest mana. We have our action economy that lets us generate mana during combat. We have the number of prepared powers. And notice here in the class features, we don't have fighting style and weapon masteries listed, because fighting styles are feats, and you can use prepared powers to pick up feats, and weapon masteries are considered meta powers, kind of like cantrips. So you can pick up weapon masteries as well. And when you prepare a weapon mastery, you can use that weapon mastery with virtually any weapon. Like Nick, for instance, still requires a light one-handed weapon and that you're dual wielding to use it. So like you can't use Nick with a glaive. But you could, like Cleave could be used with a battle axe, a short sword, a dagger, any melee weapon. The grappling combat mastery. When you hit, you force them to make a saving throw and initiate a grapple. Instead of, you can make, since it's a weapon master, since it's a combat mastery now, grappling is part of an attack as a weapon mastery instead of an attack. So we upgraded that way. So when you prepare a combat mastery, you can use it with any weapon that would possibly make sense for you to use it with in the circumstances that you're using it. But weapon masteries, like for instance, a heavy crossbow has the push mastery. If I'm proficient with a heavy crossbow, I can automatically use that weapon mastery because it only has one. But I can also use topple. Like javelin is the only ranged weapon in the game. The only weapon with range in the game now that can trip something. But I could like take a hand axe and I could use topple with the hand axe, and I could throw that hand axe at like a wyvern that's in the sky, and if I hit it, I can apply the topple mastery, and if it fails its saving throw, it's been knocked prone, which means it falls from the sky and takes falling damage. Now with the topple mastery, anything that flies, I can hit and knock it out of the sky, run up and start waffle stomping on it. Because it's prone, it triggers the downtrodden reaction. So I could hit it, knock it out of the sky, it takes falling damage, and as soon as it hits the ground and it's prone, I can now use my reaction to the waffle stomp on it. Fun stuff. So that's why you have 4 prepared powers. It would pay for a fighting feat and 3 weapon masteries, or a couple sustained powers, or whatever it is I want to do and how I want to do it. It's up to me. Let's see. Just going through the features here real quick. So that's your scaffold. We end up with, we have the same power die D6, D8, D10, D12. The max rank of power is at the half casting progression as a paladin would. 1, 5, 9, 13, 17. And the amount of prepared powers that we get ramps all the way up to 23. Keep in mind, fighting style, combat masteries, that's 5, which means I would be left with, if I use the scaffolding as the player's handbook, I would have 5 of my 23 automatically eaten by fighting style and weapon masteries. That leaves me with 18 spell slots open that I would then be able to use between paladin spells or powers that we gain. Paladins automatically get 10 spells, so if they were to get a smite spell, we replace that with an equivalent strike power. Strike powers replace smite spells. If you're using this system, you remove divine smite as a spell and you remove all the smite spells from the spellcasting categories, because divine smite becomes a class feature for the paladin that we'll look at here in a second. And you use the divine smite to ramp the damage on all the other all the other strike powers that are in the book. And there's a total of 23 different strike powers. Anywhere from 1 to 4 mana. Yeah, a lot of different powers that you can use. And all of these work with divine smite. So Divine Smite is like, activate this as a bonus action, deal extra dice of damage more than you would normally be able to do. Take a strike power, and we automatically give every paladin 1 strike power. And potentially multiple strike powers, but they all get at least 1 strike power, so they can always use Divine Smite with at least the strike power that they come with. And then it just ramps. So there you go. So there's that. So martial powers, you start with a bunch of powers. Mana, you get a mana pool, it comes back on a short rest. Spell casting with power starting at first level, you can choose to learn spells on the paladin list instead of powers. The number of mana expended to cast a spell is equal to the level of the spell cast. Maintaining concentration on a spell follows the rules of maintaining concentration, but if you're sustaining powers, it reduces the maximum level spell that you can maintain. So a 9th level paladin sustaining 2 ranks of power on personal buff effects can only maintain concentration on a 1st level spell. Spell casting and channeling do not mix, so they get in the way of each other when it comes to concentration. Let's see. When you sacrifice your bonus action during combat to generate temporary mana, you can expend that mana to cast one of your paladin spells with a duration of instant or concentration instead of channeling a power. And you're not limited to casting 1 spell with mana per round. For example, you can cast a level 3 spell that uses a magic action and a level 2 spell that uses a bonus action during your turn if you have 5 mana available to do so. So you can't, it doesn't let you cast persistent spells because concentration, you can lose it next round, and instant, it's over as soon as you use it. And none of the things that a paladin can do with mana as a spell is more powerful than what you can do as a maneuver as a paladin martial character. So being able to use your action economy, you can't use reactions and you can't use attacks. You have to use your bonus action. But if you do, expending your bonus action, like for example, in combat, during combat while initiative is going, I can sacrifice my bonus action to generate a free point of mana that I could use to cast Cure Wounds. But if I wanted to cast Cure Wounds as a 3rd level spell, I only get 1 point of mana for free. And then I'd have to spend 2 points of mana out of my own mana pool to do that. I've sacrificed my bonus action, my magic action. I've cast Cure Wounds as a 3rd level spell, but I only had to spend 2 mana to do it because I used my bonus action to generate the mana to do so. There you go. So that's spell casting mixed with power. It's super fun to build combos. Lay on Hands, this is awesome. So Lay on Hands is what you expect. You can channel divine power to rejuvenate yourself and your allies. You have a pool of 5 hit points per level of your paladin. You recover it all in a long rest. As a bonus action, you can touch a creature or yourself and spend any number of points that remain in your pool to restore that many hit points. You can purge poison for 5 hit points. You don't gain any hit points when you do it this way. And you can restore mana to somebody's mana pool as well. You can expend hit points to restore mana. For every 5 hit points expended this way, the target recovers 1 point of mana. Doing so does not also heal hit points. So A 20th level paladin with 20 mana that you regain on a short rest. You could use your lay on hands as a battery to recharge your own mana supply so you can spam the fuck out of your powers and smites. Or you could feed it to your cleric, or you could feed it to your wizard. You become a mana battery. The artificer can do this too. Only the paladin and the artificer are capable of feeding mana to other characters. In a class system, it's like everyone can smite now. What makes the paladin so unique? Well, the paladin can do more damage when they smite than anyone else can. You have your aura of protection, and your healing, your lay on hands can feed mana to your allies. So you become a sort. Oh, that's. I'm sorry, I take that back. The wild magic barbarian can also give, to a limited degree, if you roll into it, can also recover mana that way with their wild magic. Subclasses at level 3, Channel Divinity at level 3. All paladins start with Divine Sense, which is described in the player's handbook. That's a cheesy response, so let's go to the player's handbook. Let's go back to the top. Let's grab classes. I actually want to grab that feature from the handbook and implement it. Let's grab that real quick, and then we'll finish up our class features, and then we'll start working on subclasses next week. There we go. Copy. Which is described below. You can use this feature each time, and other paladin features gain additional channel divinity effect options. Each time you use channel divinity, choose which effect to create. And we have our I don't have. Oh, there it is. Channel divinity is twice, and eventually becomes 3 times at 11. There you go. And then, so it says, you can use this feature twice. You regain 1 use of it when you finish a short rest, and you can regain 1 use by expending 2 points of mana. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. You gain an additional use when you reach Paladin level 11. If you channel Divinity requires a saving throw, it's your channeling DC. And then Divine Sense. Boop. Okay, so you are a mana battery. You have 20th level, you have 20 points of mana. You can expend that mana to, maybe your channel divinity feature is what you need, and you need a lot of it. By expending your mana, you can use your channel divinity feature over and over and over again. So that's a fun feature. The cleric can do that too. You gain a feat at 4th level, 8th level, 12th level, and 16th level. You also get extra attack at 5th level. Faithful Steed at 5th level. You still get the Faithful Steed spell. Enjoy it. Aura of Protection we changed. Starting at 6th level, whenever you or a friendly ally creature within 10 feet of you must make a saving throw, the creature gains a bonus to the saving throw equal to the max rank of power gained as a paladin. You can ignore this optional feature if you want, but this scales so much better in the game. If I have at level 6 a 20 in charisma, I'm giving you a +5 bonus to all your saving throws for the rest of the campaign. But by having it scale with your max rank of power, at 6th level, you only have 2nd rank power, so it's only going to be a +2 bonus to your saving throws, which is a lot more reasonable for 6th level. And it gives you incentive to stay in the Paladin class until level 17, because by level 17, you get a +5 bonus, because that's the max rank of power you can channel next level spell. You'll eventually have a +5, but you get it when your character needs it. Again, bounded accuracy. Maximum DC of 30 on the creature's ends. You don't need a fucking +5 bonus at level 6 when the DCs that you have to pass on the saving throw is like 14. It breaks the game, and I don't know why they didn't fix it. This is such an easy fix. Players will complain because it's less power up front. It's a lot healthier for the game. It's a lot healthier, and it makes Paladins not such an eye roll when you see it at the table. It's like a +2 bonus is totally reasonable. At 9th level, a +3 bonus is reasonable. At 17th level, a +5 bonus is totally reasonable. It's a +5 bonus at 5th level. 6th level, that's stupid and broken. 9th level, magic action. Expend a use of your channel divinity, which you can do for 2 mana, to target a number of creatures equal to your channeling ability modifier, which would probably be a +5 at this point, that you can see within 60 feet of yourself. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be frightened of you for a minute. There you go. Aura of Courage, level 10. Allies that are immune to frightened condition while in your Aura of Protection, and if it's on when they enter, it's off while they are. Level 14, Restoring Touch. When you use Lay on Hands on a creature, you can also remove one or more following conditions. Blinded, channeling, charmed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, stunned. You must expend 5 hit points from the healing pool of Lay on Hands for each of these conditions that you remove. These points don't also restore hit points to the creature. And then at level 19, there's Epic Boon. And we don't have a level 20 class feature because those are our level 20 subclass features, which are auras that you create. And so it's time for me to go. When we come back on Monday night, we're going to work through the graduated Oaths of Power that are in the 2024 book converted. And then once we get through those 4, we'll go into the Forsaken subclasses, which were not promoted to the 2024 rules that we've taken time to do. We'll probably have that finished by Tuesday next week, which means Thursday night when we come back, we'll start working on the Ranger. And we've done a lot of really cool shit with the Ranger that's way better than just concentrating on Hunter's Mark. Like a lot of really cool shit. You can read it now if you want, or you can show up on Thursday with the spoiler. I'll be back Monday night to continue working on Paladin subclasses. It's time for me to go. I'm out for the weekend. I'll be back Monday morning to continue working on Eberron artwork. If you want to tag in and check that stuff out. If you think all this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications. We're live in the future. Check out my books down below. Check out my Patreon if you want. Join my Discord server if you want. Thanks a lot, everyone that's been checking this stuff out. I love sharing this. I love these mechanical ideas. I've been running this as a playtest for over a year now. I absolutely love using powers because monsters can use them too. And when we get done with all the classes, we'll go back in and we'll look at how the monsters use these powers, because all these tools are available to the DM to make combat way more challenging and interesting and tactically divisive instead of just claw bite. So that's it for now, guys. Thanks a lot. I'll see you. I'll see you all on Monday. Cheers.